Hello and welcome to another episode of Excellent Sports Talk. I am your host, as always, Mark Bradley, and I am glad to have you back for another show. I hope everybody's weekend was good. Mine's week was good. The whole week has passed, and I hope it was good for everybody. It was certainly good for me. And today's a pretty special episode. Today is Friday, September the 11th, and um, it's a significant day for the country as we remember the incidents that happened in New York on this day on September 11th, and we can't go by the show and not remember how important that was and how crazy that was because I remember it like yesterday. I was about 11 years old, about getting ready for school, and before we was my parents was getting ready to leave, I was watching the news because usually my parents would watch the news. um it was there, and oh man, that was so traumatizing. Like, I can remember being scared. I remember nervous, like, oh man, are they gonna come and just blow up our house? I was asking so many questions to my parents, but they told us nothing was gonna happen. And it was such a big deal. And so we got to remember those who lost their lives during that tragic incident, and the families, and of course the people, the first responders who responded to who was there right in the front lines when the whole incident happened. Gosh, it was so crazy to really think about it. But so today, September 11th, just we remember that day, and it's a big part of our history. That's going to be a big part of our history for the rest of our lives, and yeah, we just hope that everybody can have a good day, and just hopefully just can just go back and remember just those times, and how we can as a country move forward and become better for each other, because yeah, of course, at the end of the day, it hasn't been the best, of course, lately with all the instances been happening, but hopefully it can make some progress eventually. So hopefully we can see that. And I'm one of those people who's just a kind-hearted person who just wants to love everybody and who gives love back to me. So I just hope eventually the country can see progress and everybody can just have unity. But so I just wanted to go ahead and get that out the way. And so we are going to go ahead and get into our topics. So first, we are going to discuss the first NFL game was yesterday, and it had the Kansas City Chiefs and the Houston Texans, and by far that was a good game that we are going to talk about and we're going to dive into. So we are going to speak on that, and then we're also going to talk about the MLB season, and it's coming close to the end of the season. It's not that many games this year. So we're going to, talk about the World Series contenders and some other surprising teams that people may have doubted has just automatically became a good team, and which is surprising to a lot of people. So we're going to discuss that as well. And of course, we can't go on without the show without talking about the NBA playoffs, right? That's some of the best stuff out there in sports right now. So we are definitely going to go ahead and talk about the NBA playoffs, and we're going to get into that as always. But if you want to go ahead and you have any questions or comments, you can, by all means. I love interaction with people, so please go ahead and show some love for your favorite team. If you have some concerns about your favorite team, whether it be basketball, baseball, football, go ahead and put it in the comment section. We're going to go ahead and speak on that. And so let's go ahead and get right into it. So we are going to speak about the Houston Texans and Kansas City Chiefs game, the first game of the year, and it wasn't a very competitive game. I'm just going to be straightforward with you guys. I thought it was going to be a little bit more competitive, but it didn't see that way. So the Kansas City Chiefs basically just started where they left off from the Super Bowl win, and started with the win with 34-20. And honestly, in the beginning of the game, I thought it was going to be a little bit more competitive because Houston did score the first touchdown of the game, and I'm like, okay, Houston might give them a run for their money. But boy, was I wrong, because after that, Kansas City just decided to go crazy and scored like 24 unanswered points throughout the rest of the game. And it was funny to go back to that Houston touchdown. It was a touchdown from David Johnson, who was traded from DeAndre Hopkins. That was the trade, and he's the one that had the first touchdown for the Houston Texans. So that was a big statement to me. I was like, okay, maybe David Johnson is going to have a bounce back year, because he hasn't been the same ever since he's coming back from his injury. So hopefully this year he can have that bounce back year. And it seems it started off really good for him. But I mean, look, at the end of the day, they played Kansas City, and we all know how Kansas City operates. And it was a good game for Patrick Mahomes. Patrick Mahomes basically seemed like he was back to his MVP form. He was I'm trying to get my words out. He was back to his MVP form. He was passing the ball very efficiently. He had a 24 for 32 passing the ball with 211 passing yards and 3 touchdowns. Now, for Patrick Mahomes, that 211 yards might be a little bit awkward, because we seen Patrick Mahomes put up much bigger numbers than that. But he played well. He didn't turn the ball over, which is always good. And he had a very efficient game, moving the offense. And look, that's MVP form. That's MVP Super Bowl winning Patrick Mahomes. And everybody knows Patrick Mahomes is probably the face of the NFL right now. I would say so. He's by far the best quarterback in the NFL, and it's crazy. What's going on, Jesse? I missed your comment. Good luck with the Lakers in the finals, bro. Celtics legs are historic, man. Fly, Eagles fly. I heard Oakland is going to work on a team, but it won't be the same. Yeah, I mean, you really can't have a team in Oakland not named the Raiders. Like, I think that is like unheard of. And to be honest with you, as much as I love the city of Oakland, and I've seen it firsthand, with me going to school out there in the Bay Area and going to Raiders games, that they love their football out there. They love the Raiders. But gosh, man, you trying to bring in another team? I can't be down with that. I don't know. I can't be down for that. It wouldn't be the same. It would not be the same, because the Raiders was just such a big staple in that city, and you really can't rekindle that flame at all. So that in itself will be really weird, really weird. But yeah, so going back basically to the Chiefs, the Chiefs-Texans game, I think one of the biggest surprises of that game was Clyde Edwards-Helaire. I'm saying this name right. Sometimes you don't want to get it jumbled up, but he was a rookie from LSU who basically led LSU, him and Joe Burrow, to the national championship last year. And he was a second round pick for the Kansas City Chiefs, and he just came. I could be wrong. I think he was a late first rounder, second rounder. If I'm wrong, please let me know in the comment section. I think he was a surprise to everybody. Oakland was great, but never the same. It would take a while to bring something new, man. Yeah, it would. Absolutely, Jesse. It would be different. It would be really weird to see a new team in Oakland. I wouldn't like it at all. I would be like, look, they had their shot to keep Oakland in Oakland. All they had to do was build them a new stadium, and they wouldn't do that, so they had to leave. I mean, and I understand people of Oakland is really mad about it, but let's be honest. Oakland was the last team to share a stadium with a baseball team. That was weird. And honestly, that stadium was kind of nasty. I'm just going to be honest with you. It was really nasty. And it's not worth it. So, I mean, that's why they left. And the Golden State Warriors left in basketball. They left Oakland. Oakland has some higher up problems. They have to figure out some things. But yeah, so like I was saying before, Clyde Edwards-Helaire, okay, he was the Chiefs first round pick 31. Yeah, I thought it was getting close to that last back half of like the first round, early second round. So yeah, he was a big shocker. He had 25 carries for 138 yards and 1 touchdown against a Houston defense who's usually good against the run. So this was a big shock for me. He just came in. He ran well. He was very patient, finding the holes, which the Chiefs made a lot of big holes for him in his first game. The Chiefs was moving around the Texans' defensive line, which is usually surprising because, you know, J.J. Watt is there, and J.J. Watt is a force for the Houston Texans. But they was moving the Texans defensive line, and he had a great debut. He had a very, very great debut, and I can see him having a good success, maybe like a Josh Jacobs, like he did last year. You know, a late round pick. He could have that same success if the Chiefs offensive line could stay healthy. And yeah, he could have a big year. I can see a big year in his future. Now for the Texans, Deshaun Watson, he had an okay game. It wasn't like he was blowing the mind of Chiefs fans by going crazy, but at the end of the day, he had a pretty decent game. He had a big payday before the season started, so I know going into the season that was a big confidence booster for him. But at the end of the day, it was just an average game for the Texans. Hopefully they can have a good bounce back game next week. For basically both of these teams, the Kansas City Chiefs has to play the Los Angeles Chargers in Los Angeles, and I think Los Angeles is going to be one of those back burner teams because they have to build up with basically a new team. Look, Phillip Rivers is not there anymore. They're starting Tyrod Taylor, and Tyrod Taylor is a very efficient quarterback. He can get the job done, but can he lead his team to the playoffs? I don't think so. I don't think so. So I think the Chargers is going to be, you know, one of those teams that's kind of looking at the back half of the division. And then the Houston Texans, excuse me, are going to play the Baltimore Ravens next week in their next week game. And that's a tough 2 teams you have to play in the first 2 weeks. You got to play Kansas City, who's the Super Bowl champion. Then you have to play Baltimore, who had the best record last year in the NFL. So that's a tough 2-week schedule for them, and so hopefully they can have that bounce back win, like I said, and we'll see. That's going to be a tough game. That's going to be a tough game, but Yeah, the NFL is starting, and then Sunday we're going to have, the full set of games. Uh, what's up, Fido? KC went in last night. Yeah, they did, man. Kansas City. I mean, look, Kansas City returned like 90% of their starters, so this is not a surprise to anybody. Not a surprise to anybody. When you return basically your Super Bowl team, it's another good deal for them. So look, I mean, things could change at the end of the day. Injuries could happen. But yeah, I mean, it's going to be tough to see Kansas City not making the playoffs. So yeah, this week we're going to have our full slate of games. It's going to be fun. I'm going to be all invested into it, and I think one of the biggest deals is going to see the new stadium with the Rams and the Dallas Cowboys. I think that's going to be a big deal. And yeah, I mean, I'm excited. I honestly thought it was going to be a close game, but Houston disappointed. I mean, when you lose your top receiver and everything, it's tough. I am playing fantasy football, and I am playing fantasy football. I got a decent team. I can definitely show you, but it's it's going to be cool. Dallas for life. Yeah. Dallas is going to have a good year. I mean, they're going to take them as far as Dak Prescott is going to take them. Him and Amari Cooper has to have a big year, because let's be honest, if Dak Prescott does not have a big year, they are not paying that man. They are not going to pay that man how much he wants, because Dak Prescott wants a lot of money, and I don't think Dallas is fully ready to commit to that big money. It starts this year. If he has that year this year, oh yeah, they're going to pay him whatever he wants, but he's not going to get no Patrick Mahomes money. I think that's what he wants. And look, he's not getting that Patrick Mahomes money. So, oh yeah, Dak knows he has to have a big year. He has to have a big year this year. And they are not going to pay that man if he's having an average year. Exactly. Andy Dalton as a backup, he's a proven leader. Exactly. So, look, Dak has to have that year this year. So, it's going to be, he has to have a big year. It's no ifs, ands, or buts. Him and Amari Cooper's going to have to figure it out. He has more firepower with CeeDee Lamb. So hey, it is what it is. This is his make or break year. So I'm excited to see what the Cowboys do. It's going to be a very good game against the Los Angeles Rams. That new stadium is beautiful. I seen it firsthand not too long ago, about a month ago. Beautiful new stadium the Los Angeles Rams and the Chargers are having. Unfortunately, I don't think there's going to be fans. What I did find interesting was there were fans at the first game against the Houston Texans and the Kansas City Chiefs. I didn't know if they were going to have fans this whole year, but they did, and I thought it was real cool. I thought it was real cool to have, your little, maybe 15,000 fans. I thought it was cool. That stadium looks lovely. It do. When you see it for real, right there where you can walk to it, it looks amazing. And so just to have the Cowboys and the Rams to set it off Sunday Night Football, I think that's you can't do better than that. You cannot do better than that. So I'm excited. For the rest of the football games to happen this Sunday and of course Monday. And football is back, and I think everybody is so excited because we've been going through a lot in the world, and football just makes everything better. So I'm all emotionally invested. You're gonna see me Sunday just there. So I'm excited. I'm so excited. So let's go ahead and move on to the next topic. And we are going to talk about the MLB standings up to right now. So as we all know, the MLB is only having 60 games this year, which is a huge drop off to a regular 182 game season that we're all accustomed to. And October is next month. So of course, that's usually the time when baseball starts their playoff season. And so we have some couple of teams who's kind of underachieving and who's overachieving. So we are going to go ahead and speak on it. So let's go ahead and get right into it. So of course, as we always do, we start on the American League side of the standings, and we're going to start with the American League East. The Tampa Bay Rays is one of those teams who is overachieving. Now, usually the Tampa Bay Rays do good, but then they drop off because Boston and New York is usually the number one and number two teams in that division. But the Rays are playing great baseball right now. Coming second in place is the Toronto Blue Jays. And the Blue Jays was nervous because they didn't even know if they was going to have a season at this point because, of course, they're in Canada. That's a Canada team, and the travel wasn't going to be right. Fortunately for them, they are able to play. I think it's in Pittsburgh. They are able to play baseball there. And they're taking advantage of it. They're having a good season at 24-19. That's a good record for Toronto because usually Toronto is not, the best team in that division. So it's good for them. And, wow. The Yankees are in third place with a 22-21 record. That is a shock, I think, to everybody, especially the way they started the season. I think we was looking like, look, the Yankees are primed to make a World Series run, but guys, they are struggling right now. And unfortunately, they cannot win outside of Yankee Stadium. Their road record is disgusting. It is 8-14. It is 8-14. It's not good at all. I don't know anything about the MLB. It's all right, man. That's what I'm here for. I got you. And not a lot of people care about baseball. Unfortunately, I do. I got you. So the Yankees, they can't win on the road, and that's not going to help them trying to get into the playoffs the way the Rays and the Blue Jays are playing. So the Yankees is going to have to step it up. I mean, the season is almost done. I think it's only like 15 games left. And so I still have that command. I haven't played my MLB in a minute. I can't lie. I forgot I had that command too. So yeah. The Yankees have to figure it out. And so with that, let's move on to the next division. We're going to go ahead and move on to the American League Central. And this is the best division in baseball by far. By far. The best division in baseball. So to everybody's shock, I guess, the Chicago White Sox are in first place with a 27-16 record. And Chicago has been bottom feeders for a long time in the AL Central. So this is a big shock to me. I did not see Chicago White Sox remotely like competitive in the division. So Chicago is making me eat my words. So, hey, if you're a Chicago White Sox fan, live it up, man. Live it up. And so we have the Minnesota Twins and the Cleveland Indians are second and third. The Twins are 27-18 record, and the Cleveland Indians with a 26-18 record. And I thought those two would be slugging it out for the division because those two were the best two teams in the division going in the AL Central going into the season. And don't get me wrong, they're still good, but wow, Chicago is, shocking everybody. So this is going to be a tight division going down to the end of the season. And I mean, at the end of the day, even if whoever doesn't make it, whoever doesn't win the division, probably going to get a wild card seed. So those two are doing an amazing job. Then we have the Detroit Tigers and the Kansas City Royals who not doing too well. So we're going to go ahead and skip them. So let's continue on to the American League West. And the Oakland Athletics are currently holding down that division. Is currently the only team above a 500 record with a 27-15 record. And like I thought Oakland would be the top dog in this division. And it was still kind of early in the division where you didn't know who would, take over. And you never know with Houston because Houston has so much offense that they can go crazy at any time. But unfortunately, Houston hasn't lived up to the hype because they only have a 22-23 record, and they're holding down the second place spot. Unfortunately, they are a bad road team with a 6-17 record, and you have to win on the road eventually if you want to be even remotely competitive in baseball. And then we have the Seattle Mariners who's holding down the third spot with a 19-24 record. And we also have the Los Angeles Angels with the 18-27 record. And then we have the Texas Rangers who's dead last with a 15-28 record. So from what it looks like the Athletics is going to go ahead and win that division. So because the Athletics, if they continue to stay where they're at, play at least consistent baseball where they're not losing a lot of games and have to struggle to win, trying to get into the playoffs, and the Astros are not doing as well as they are, I see Oakland going ahead winning that division. So kudos to Oakland doing a great job maintaining their spot in the division. So let's go ahead and move on to the National League. So we're going to start with the National League East. So the Atlanta Braves are currently in first place with a 26-18 record. And that's no surprise to me at all. Atlanta has been a very consistently good team in baseball, but unfortunately they can't get past, like the first or second round in baseball. They just can't get over the hump for I have no idea. And unfortunately it hurts because there's some good teams in the NL. But the Braves have been consistently good in that division, and they constantly win the division. So, but they still in a little competition. The Philadelphia Phillies are in second place with a 21-19 record, and the Miami Marlins are there as well with the 20-19 record. So that's still three and a half games in first place. And anything can happen between now and October where, we see it a lot of times in baseball where teams just go cold for a month straight and teams get hot for that back half of the month and catch up to the division leaders. So this could be another situation where that could happen. So that division is still close. And we're going to have to go ahead and monitor and see how that is going to play out. And so at the bottom part of the division in the NL East, the New York Mets with a 20-24 record, and the defending champs, the Washington Nationals, are dead last with a 16-26 record. And to be quite honest with you, I'm not surprised to see that because the Nationals lost a lot of key players from that team, that World Series team last year, and it's showing now. It's showing now. It's not good. They're not good, and it's the same with Boston in the the AL East. I mean, unfortunately, they lost their best player Mookie Betts, and now they're bad. And so, you got to have some star power on your team who can get things done. So let's move on to the National League Central Division. And the Chicago Cubs is holding down that division with a 26-19 record. And wow, look at this, man. Both Chicago teams are playing well. So it's some good baseball being played in Chicago. I'm pretty sure South Side of Chicago and North Side of Chicago are happy, ecstatic, because we normally know the Cubs are going to be good, but shoot, Chicago White Sox are right there. So Chicago Cubs are basically, they're kind of in a tight race. I mean, they're only 3 games ahead with the St. Louis Cardinals, who currently has a 19-18 record. But like I said, the Cardinals didn't play as many games because a lot of their staff had the COVID-19, which has been kind of hurting the baseball world a lot. So they kind of have a lot of makeup games that the St. Louis Cardinals has to do. So basically they have to play catch up. So they could have a competitive division at the end of the day. And then we have the Milwaukee Brewers with a 19-22 record, which is kind of a shocker because usually Milwaukee is a good team. And then we have the Cincinnati Reds, who haven't been good in a minute, with a 19-25 record. And then we also have the Pittsburgh Pirates with a 14-27 record. And those teams haven't been good for a while. So unfortunately, they're at the bottom. So there's that for the National League Central. And then we move on to the last division, which is National League West. And we have the Los Angeles Dodgers, who is holding down that division with a 32-13 record. That's the best team in baseball as of right now. And the Dodgers look almost unstoppable. The Dodgers have great pitching rotation with Walker Buehler. Clayton Kershaw's looking like his old self. And you have Mookie Betts and Cody Bellinger, 2 MVPs on the same team. And then you have just bats for days for the Dodgers, Max Muncy, Justin Turner. I mean, the list goes on and on for the Dodgers. They're a great team. And then I mean, even with the Dodgers, it's overshadowing the San Diego Padres, who has a 29-17 record. I mean, the Dodgers are so good. Like, the San Diego Padres can be in any other division, first place leading, like, comfortably. But unfortunately, they have the Dodgers in their division, and the Dodgers are the best team in the MLB. And then there's San Diego's playing excellent baseball. And we've seen this coming because the Padres had a great farm system. I think they had the number 1 farm system in the MLB. And so their talent is just moving up, just getting better year by year. And now it's showing. So San Diego's playing great baseball. And then we have the San Francisco Giants with a 23-22 record, which is good for San Francisco standards because San Francisco has been a bad team for a long time. And so this is a good spot for them. Now, unfortunately, I don't see them, winning the division or anything. But if they can be 500, for the year, that's a good season for them. Let me clear my camera. I'm all out of focus. Hopefully, this can get me back in focus. And so the MLB. My bad. Let's continue with the NL West. The Colorado Rockies, who started well and kind of fading away. They have a 20-23 record. And then the Arizona Diamondbacks, who's usually here not really. They had a decent year last year, but they are in the back half of the division with the 16-29 record. And so, look, there's been some teams who's been surprising. I think Tampa Bay is one of the biggest surprises. I think San Diego has been one of the biggest surprises. Chicago White Sox has been a big surprise. It's a lot of teams overachieving. And, of course, teams like the Yankees and Boston Red Sox, who's usually always in competition with each other for the AL East, are not doing well. It's been a very interesting baseball year. And so going into October, obviously the Dodgers are still the front runners because they have the best team right now, but we all know about the Dodgers. When they get into the playoffs, they're a different team. All of a sudden they give up runs. They don't do well. Their bullpen never does well in tight situations like the playoffs. So it's going to be different. No crowd is going to be at the playoffs, so it could be different. That crowd noise makes a big difference. That momentum is big in baseball. So having home field advantage is a big deal. So that is basically going to wrap up that topic. Baseball is close to the playoffs, and look, it's been exciting. It's been exciting. So let's go ahead and move on to our last topic. And like I said, if you want to go ahead and have any questions or comments, feel free by all means to go ahead and interact with me. It's been a great interactive stream, and I've been loving it. And yeah, if you have any concerns about your favorite team in any sport, let me know. If you want to boast your favorite team, by all means, do it. So let's get into our last topic, which is the NBA playoffs. And the NBA playoffs, look, I know a lot of people haven't been enjoying the bubble playoffs, but I have been thoroughly enjoying it. It's been some good series and some good games lately. And I've been liking it. And so it's been some surprising things and in the NBA playoffs. What's going on? Oh, really? I was in the recommended. Cool, man. I appreciate you coming in the stream. Hopefully, you can go ahead and follow and catch me every Friday. At 12 noon. I appreciate you coming. So let's move on to the NBA playoffs. It's been some shocking developments in the NBA playoffs, and so let's go ahead and talk about it. Let's start with the Miami Heat and Milwaukee Bucks series. That was such a big big shocker to me because what sports do I like? Of course, I like football, American football. I see you're a Liverpool fan. I know that's the real football. That's the real football. I love baseball and I love basketball. I think basketball is my favorite sport because I played it a lot growing up. and I follow it a little bit more. So basketball is definitely my favorite sport, and I'm diving into soccer slowly but surely, and also hockey. I usually don't watch too much hockey until it gets to the NHL Stanley Cup playoffs. But yeah, so baseball, American football, and basketball is my top. To be honest, only one I really know anything about is basketball. Cool. So you definitely going to enjoy this topic. So who's your favorite basketball team? Matter of fact, just let me know. Put in the comments below and let me know. So yeah, it was a big shocker to see Miami and Milwaukee, how that series played out, because Miami looked like the best team like out of in that series. Like they really beat them up like bad. Oh, the Celtics are your best team? Ooh, we're gonna talk about that. Stay tuned. I don't want to give it away. But yeah, Miami looked like the best team. They overpowered Milwaukee, and it didn't help that Giannis Antetokounmpo ended up rolling his ankle, and they played well. They played inspired basketball with him on the bench and him cheering them on. But look, Miami was clearly the best team in that division, in that series. Miami can play great defense, and Miami can play great defense, and they have scorers all throughout their team. Duncan Robinson, undrafted player, I think he broke the record for most threes. Undrafted rookies. Clippers, we're gonna talk about them too. So yeah, we had Tyler Hero, who's a great pickup. I think he was placed in a perfect spot with the Miami Heat to flourish. And then we had Jimmy Butler, who can get you a bucket in those tight situations. So Miami played great basketball that whole series. They've been playing great this whole year. They've been playing great the whole playoffs in the bubble. They only lost one game throughout the whole playoffs. They are beating teams up. And now moving on to the next series, this series coming up with the Toronto Raptors and the Boston Celtics. And Max, here we go. We're talking about your team, man. Max Johnson, we're talking about your team, man. This is it. Game 7 is tonight. This has been I think this has been the best series in the playoffs so far. I mean, that big shot by OG Anunoby was key to keeping Toronto in the series. They are scratching and clawing, trying to say, "Oh, what's going on, Arv? Go Cowboys, go Clippers. LeBron suck." That is craziness because LeBron James has been playing amazing, but we're gonna get into that. So basically, Game 7. This has been a great series. Toronto has been scratching and clawing, trying to, stay in the series, because look, Boston at the end of the day has been the better team by far. I think Boston has been a better team this whole series, but it's like, gosh, Toronto's like fights. They fight. It's been like that since they won the championship. They have to fight hard for that. And this year, it's none different. They have to fight. They have to claw for everything they have. And they're doing it to lead them to this Game 7 tonight. This is going to be a battle. This is going to be a battle. I have family in Boston. That's why I support the Celtics. That makes sense. That makes a lot of sense. So they have to battle. The Clippers and Celtics have been battling and out. And but the reason it's really not any teams in England. I understand, man. I mean, I don't know if they have much basketball teams in England. I never heard too much about that. But look, the Celtics has been a better team, but Toronto has been, fighting and just showing their spirit. And to be quite honest, I don't know who's going to win this game. Normally, I'll give a prediction, but I do not know. I really do not know who's going to win this game. I think this is going to come down to a buzzer beater situation, because both of these teams are going to give their all to get to the Eastern Conference Finals. We have a team, but they're really bad. Man, I'm sorry about that, Max. The Clippers going to win it all. Look, I wouldn't be surprised if they did. The Clippers have been playing well lately, so I'd say after our sport, basketball is the most popular. I get that. Basketball is a very universal game. Basketball is a very universal game, and it's worldwide. And a lot of good players come from overseas to play in the NBA, and it's excuse me, it's not a surprise to see a lot of players coming from overseas playing in the NBA, getting that number one experience. So yeah, like I said, I do not know who's going to win this game. This is a great series. And so let's continue on to the Western Conference side of the world. It's definitely getting more popular over time. It is slowly but surely. It's becoming a very universal game. So let's go ahead and talk about the Clippers and the Denver Nuggets series, and so it has been a great series. When you go to Cages there now, always hoops there. That's lovely, man. I'm glad that overseas are getting more exposure to that, because basketball is a great game and I love it for sure. So yeah, let's talk about the Clippers and Denver series. And look, I think Denver's just a little bit too overmatched in this series. Denver is a little too overmatched. It's not looking good for Denver, because the Clippers are who they are. They play defense, and they play it well. And now that the series is 3-1, I don't see the Denver Nuggets making a comeback like they did against Utah, because Clippers are a different breed. It's a different breed. Let me see. It'll never be as popular as things like football, rugby, union rugby league, and boxing, but I think it took over cricket. Wow, that's amazing, because I know those are popular sports over there in England. And for something like basketball to take over cricket, which is a big situation, that's pretty crazy. That's pretty crazy. So yeah, like I was saying, Denver 3-1 series. Look, Denver's not making a comeback. Denver is not making a comeback here. I think the Clippers just handle their business tonight. This is Game 5, and I think this is it. They're going to go ahead and move on to the Western Conference, which is a big monument for the Clippers, because the Clippers been so bad for so long, and this decade they've been good, but the Clippers been so bad for a long time, and ever since Chris Paul and Blake Griffin came, they've been competitive. But I think this is the best team the Clippers ever had in their whole time being in Los Angeles. I think this is the best team that they had, and it's showing. They're going. I think they're going to the Western Conference Finals, and we're going to see. We're going to see who they play after this next series, which is the Los Angeles Lakers and the Houston Rockets. And look, ever since the Houston Rockets won game one, they have been overmatched. Like bad, too. They have been overmatched. Look, the Clippers, excuse me, the Houston Rockets, have they don't have anything to match Anthony Davis. Anthony Davis is just basically doing whatever they please to the Houston Rockets because they're so much taller than the Rockets. I mean, basically they're playing PJ Tucker at center and he's like 6'6", 6'5". That's not going to get it done against a monster like Anthony Davis. It's not happening. It's not happening. Who do I support, by the way? Basically I try not to be biased, but I do have my favorite teams. So in Major League Baseball, I'm a Los Angeles Dodgers fan. In basketball, I'm a Los Angeles Lakers fan. And in football, I'm a Las Vegas Raiders fan. And usually I vote for the Los Angeles teams, except in football, because growing up all my life, there wasn't a team in Los Angeles. So I became a Raiders fan. Basically, my pops was a big Raiders fan, so I kind of, just fell in place and was a big Raiders fan as well. So I'm a big Las Vegas Raiders fan, and basically, since I'm from California, I support a lot of Los Angeles teams. So I'm basically a homer. So that's what they call me. So I support a lot of Los Angeles teams, except in football. Football, no Los Angeles teams gets my love. No Los Angeles Rams or Chargers don't. I don't do it. Or San Francisco 49ers can't do it. Cannot do it. So basically, going back to the Los Angeles Lakers and Houston Rockets series, yeah, the Los Angeles Lakers they have a monster in Anthony Davis that's just doing whatever he wants to Houston because he's so much bigger and stronger than them. And then we have LeBron James who's just playing out of his mind. Now he didn't have the LeBron James type game he did last night, but he did enough to win. And oh my goodness, playoff Rondo is here. I mean, he has been playing out of this world, right? He's been playing out of his world. And he's been a big asset to the team, being that playmaker that he's always been ever since he became in the league. And he's been a great point guard all his life. I support Liverpool from Manchester. Wow, isn't that like a bad thing to do out there in Liverpool? Because I know that rivalry is humongous in soccer. Wow, that's crazy. Got you. Okay. Wow, that is crazy. So yeah, I heard Liverpool and Manchester, they do not like each other at all. And if you're a Liverpool fan, you just do not support Manchester whatsoever. But that's cool. Man U and City were both well. I was young as well, but now we got better. I got you. Yeah, that's a big thing. That's a very big thing. It's good for like banter in that school, which makes got you. Okay. Yeah, that's with me, to be honest with you. And I'm a big Lakers fan, right? And then we have the Los Angeles Clippers, who's basically in the same city. And it's like, oh gosh, you do not like the Clippers if you're a Lakers fan. I always say, the Lakers are like the varsity team of Los Angeles, and the Clippers are the JV team of Los Angeles. When you're a Lakers fan, you just do not like the Clippers because, I mean, they're right there in the same city, and you always want the Lakers to be the top dogs in the city. So yeah. But anyway, I'm about to go ahead and wrap up the show. I just want to say, continue on with the Lakers and The Lakers and oh, your mom doesn't care about football at all. That stinks. Well, maybe one day she might get into it. But yeah, so I think the Lakers go ahead and handle their business in Game 5. I think the Rockets going to play inspired basketball, and they're going to try to get that win. But look, they're not going to make it. I think this is a wrap, and we're going to have the Clippers and Lakers in the Western Conference Finals. I think that's going to be a Game 7 situation, a full Game 7, because that's going to be a dogfight. The whole series, because both of those teams are big. They play great defense, and they have competitive players that wants to win. So I see a Clippers Lakers finals, and I see Miami, and guys, I'm gonna have to give a team. I'm gonna say Boston. I'm gonna say Boston. Go ahead and goes to the Eastern Conference Finals, and we'll give our finals predictions next week. But I appreciate everybody who came to the stream. I will be back next Friday at noon to 1 p.m. Pacific Standard Time. And I appreciate everybody who came to the stream. Max John, you was very interactive. I hope you come back. Facebook, Narvell, Jesse, I appreciate you guys coming. And of course, Fido, I appreciate him coming by as well. And I hope to see you guys next week, as always. And we will be here with more great topics and more great sports talk. So until next time, guys, peace.